Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned over the years. In love, in life, in marriage, it's not the easy moments that make somebody truly love you. It's not the dinners, the flowers, or the sweet words. It's when you got the courage to stand your ground, to challenge somebody, to make them uncomfortable enough to grow. See, when I say he will only love you if you have the courage to break her, I ain't talking about breaking her spirit. I'm talking about breaking the patterns that keep her stuck in a place where real love can't reach. Love built on resilience is a different kind of love. It's not the kind that comes and goes depending on how smooth the day goes. It's not the type that only exists when everything is comfortable and easy. Real love gets tested, and it's in those tests that you find out whether it's worth something or just a fragile feeling that can't stand the rain. See, too many people think love is about never having problems, never disagreeing, never pushing each other's limits, but that's not love, that's comfort. And comfort alone can't hold the relationship together. It's resilience, the ability to stand strong when things get rough, that keeps love alive for the long run. When I say true love tests boundaries, I mean that if you really care about somebody, you're going to run into moments where you challenge each other. Not because you want to hurt them, but because you both care enough to push past the surface. Think about it. If you only ever tell someone what they want to hear, if you only ever agree just to avoid tension, you're not helping that relationship grow. You're keeping it weak. You're building it on sand instead of stone. And the first storm that comes, it's gone. A strong relationship is built the same way steel is made. It's heated, hammered, shaped under pressure. It takes those tough conversations, those moments where you disagree, and still choose to work through it. It takes the kind of honesty that might sting in the moment, but saves you from bigger pain down the road. Resilient love doesn't break when there's a misunderstanding, a fight, or a challenge. Instead, it bends, adjusts, and finds a way back. That's because resilience is about holding on without losing yourself. Now, some people run at the first sign of conflict. They think if we're fighting, that must mean we're not right for each other. But that's not true. The question isn't whether you fight, it's whether you can come back from it stronger than before. Every relationship will face tests, disagreements, outside pressures, personal struggles. What makes or breaks it is whether the love between you can stand those moments without crumbling. And that's why resilience matters. True love is not about being perfect for each other. It's about being willing to face each other's imperfections without running away. It's about looking at the other person, even in the heat of an argument, and knowing I'm not going anywhere. That's where the bond deepens. That's when you know you've got something worth holding on to. If your love can only survive the easy days, it's not love, it's convenience. When you're building a love based on resilience, you understand that boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are lines that keep the relationship healthy. And when those boundaries are tested, it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes pushing against them reveals where you both need to grow. Sometimes it uncovers habits, fears, or old wounds that you didn't even know were there. That's not the end of love. That's the work of love. And let's be real. Love that has never been tested can feel sweet in the beginning, but it's fragile. The first time you face a real problem, you'll find out whether it's solid or if it was just infatuation dressed up as forever. That's why resilience is so important. It's the thing that makes love more than just a feeling. It makes it a commitment. It's the glue that holds you together when feelings shift, when life throws you curveballs, when the spark flickers and you have to choose to reignite it. Resilient love doesn't mean you don't get hurt or frustrated. It means you trust that the bond you've built can carry you through the hurt. You don't walk away at the first sign of trouble. You stand there and work it out because you know the value of what you have. You see, the couples who last are not the ones who never argue or never face challenges. They're the ones who refuse to let those challenges be bigger than their love. That's the kind of love built on resilience. That's the kind of love that can stand the test of time. Breaking her doesn't mean tearing her apart or causing her pain for the sake of it. It's not about crushing her spirit, taking away her confidence, or making her feel less than she is. That's not love, and that's not strength. When I talk about breaking her, I'm talking about breaking through the walls she's built around herself, the barriers she's created out of fear, hurt, or habit. It's about challenging her comfort zone so she can grow, so the love between you can be deeper, stronger, and more meaningful than anything she's known before. A lot of women have been through things that made them cautious, guarded, and sometimes even closed off. They've learned to rely on themselves, to protect themselves from disappointment, and to not expect too much from anyone. While that self-protection can keep them safe, it can also keep them stuck. It can stop them from experiencing the kind of love that requires trust, openness, and vulnerability. If you're with a woman who has built those walls, you can't just tiptoe around them forever. You can't pretend they're not there. Sooner or later, if you want something real, you've got to have the courage to challenge those walls. Challenging her comfort zone isn't always going to feel good in the moment. She might push back, she might get defensive, she might even question your intentions. But if you truly care about her, you'll stay steady. You'll show her through your actions that you're not trying to control her or change who she is. You're trying to help her step into more of who she can be. Sometimes that means asking hard questions. Sometimes that means telling her the truth when it would be easier to say nothing. Sometimes it's about refusing to let her settle for less than she deserves, even if she's convinced herself she's fine where she is. A comfort zone is a safe place, but it's also a small place. You can't build a big love in a small place. When you break through those limits, you give her the opportunity to see life and love in a new way. You give her the chance to trust that someone can see her flaws, her fears, and her past and still choose her. That's powerful. That's the kind of thing that changes a relationship from casual to unshakable. Breaking her comfort zone might mean helping her unlearn the belief that she always has to be strong and in control. It might mean showing her that it's okay to lean on someone, that it's okay to let someone else take care of her sometimes. It might mean encouraging her to dream bigger, to believe in more for herself, and to stop letting fear dictate her choices. And while those lessons can feel uncomfortable, they are the very things that allow her to experience love in its fullest form. You can't do this with ego. You can't do it to prove a point or to show that you're the boss. You have to do it with patience, consistency, and respect. Because real breaking isn't destruction, it's construction. You're not knocking her down. You're helping her build something better. And sometimes the first step in building something new is breaking what's old and no longer serving her. There will be moments when she doesn't see it right away. She might misunderstand you. She might think you're pushing too hard. That's when you have to stand firm in love, not in pride. You can't back down from what you know will help her grow, but you also can't lose sight of why you're doing it. You're doing it because you care too much to let her live in a space that keeps her small. In time, she'll recognize it. She'll realize that the moments when you challenged her, the moments when you didn't let her hide behind excuses, were the moments that brought her closer to the woman she was meant to be. And when she sees that, her respect and trust for you will reach a level it's never been before. She'll love you not just for the good times, but for the courage you had to stand by her when breaking her comfort zone was the only way to truly love her. Women respect men who know who they are and what they stand for. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room or acting tough just to impress somebody. It's about having values that don't shift every time the wind blows. It's about being consistent in what you believe, even when it's not the easy choice. In relationships, respect is just as important as love. And for a woman to truly respect you, she needs to see that you're not going to compromise your principles just to avoid conflict or to make her happy in the moment. A lot of men think the way to win a woman's heart is to agree with her on everything, to never push back, and to always go along with whatever she says. They believe that keeping the peace at all costs is the way to make love last. But the truth is, that's the quickest way to lose her respect. She may like the attention at first, but over time, she will see through it. She'll recognize that you're not standing on anything solid. And if you don't stand on something, you'll fall for anything. And she can't trust a man who falls for anything. Standing firm in your values doesn't mean being stubborn or refusing to listen. It means knowing the difference between compromise and surrender. In a healthy relationship, you can compromise on preferences, but you can't surrender your principles. If honesty is one of your values, you don't lie just to avoid upsetting her. If loyalty is a value, you don't flirt with others just to get validation. If self-respect matters to you, you don't let someone talk down to you even if you love them. These are lines you don't cross because they define who you are. When a woman sees that you can hold your ground without being disrespectful, she feels secure. She knows she can trust your word because it's backed by action. She knows you won't make promises you can't keep, and you won't fold when things get tough. That security builds a foundation for deeper connection. She may not always like what you have to say, but she will respect that you have the courage to say it. Men who stand firm in their values create stability. And stability is something every strong relationship needs. Without it, love becomes unpredictable. One day you're committed, the next you're bending to whatever makes life easier in the moment. That kind of inconsistency leaves both people unsure about where they stand. But when you show her that your words and actions line up, you remove the guesswork. She knows exactly who she's dealing with, and that kind of clarity is powerful. It's also important to understand that standing firm doesn't mean being unkind or arrogant. It's not about always getting your way. It's about mutual respect. Respecting her enough to be truthful and respecting yourself enough not to abandon your core beliefs. Women admire men who can balance strength with compassion, who can be both assertive and empathetic. That balance shows maturity, and maturity earns long-term respect. Over time, she'll test those boundaries, not because she's trying to ruin the relationship, but because she wants to know if what you say you stand for is real. She wants to know if your integrity holds up under pressure. And if you waver too easily, if you bend your values every time it's convenient, you'll lose more than her respect, you'll lose her trust. But if you hold steady, if you can calmly and consistently live out your principles, she'll see you as a man she can depend on no matter what. Women may be drawn to charm and charisma at first, but what keeps them is character. Charm fades, looks change, and life will throw challenges your way, but your values are what carry you through it all. If you let those go, you let go of the very thing that makes you trustworthy in her eyes. So be the man who lives by what he believes. Be the man whose actions match his words. That's the kind of man a woman respects. And that respect will deepen the love between you in ways that go far beyond surface attraction. Growth in a relationship doesn't happen when everything is easy. It happens in the moments when you and your partner are willing to face the uncomfortable truths about yourselves and each other. Too many couples get stuck because they avoid those conversations. They don't want to bring up the things that bother them. They don't want to hurt feelings, or they're afraid it might lead to a fight. But if you never address the flaws, the habits, and the patterns that hold you back, your relationship will stay the same, or worse, it will slowly fall apart. When both partners are willing to confront each other's flaws, it's not about attacking or criticizing. It's about being honest enough to say, this is something I see and I think we can work on it together. It takes courage to do that because nobody likes hearing about their shortcomings. But if you love someone, you want the best for them. And sometimes wanting the best means telling them the truth, even if it's not easy to hear. Avoiding these conversations might feel peaceful in the moment, but it's a false peace. Over time, small issues turn into big ones, little resentments grow into walls, and what could have been solved with one open talk becomes a deep divide. Real love doesn't ignore problems, it works through them. And that's only possible if both people are willing to be open, vulnerable, and humble enough to admit they're not perfect. Confronting flaws is a two-way street. You can't just point out what's wrong with your partner and expect them to accept it if you can't take feedback yourself. It's about mutual growth. You have to be able to listen without getting defensive, to look at yourself honestly, and to take responsibility when you fall short. The moment a relationship becomes one-sided in this process, where one person is always pointing out the other's flaws but never examining their own, respect starts to fade. When both people are committed to growth, confronting flaws doesn't feel like an attack. It feels like teamwork. You understand that the goal isn't to tear each other down, but to build each other up. That means the conversations may get emotional, they may be uncomfortable, but they're rooted in love and a desire to make the relationship stronger. And the more you go through that process, the more trust you build, because you prove to each other that you can handle the truth together. It's also important to approach these moments with empathy. Timing, tone, and intention matter. If you come at your partner when emotions are high or when you're trying to win an argument, your words will feel like an attack. But if you approach them from a place of care, saying, I love you and I want us to be better, you create a safe space for honesty. That's when real change can happen. The couples that grow together are the ones who don't hide from the hard stuff. They talk about trust issues, communication problems, bad habits, and unmet needs without pretending everything is fine. They don't let pride get in the way of progress. They're willing to